you to raise your right hand. Swear the testimony you give in the matter now pending before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Have a seat, please. If you could speak into the microphone when you get the chance, and if you could introduce yourself for the court, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Brandon King. I'm a deputy sheriff with the Bexar County Sheriff's Office, currently assigned to the School Resource Officer Unit.
Okay. And what is a school resource officer?
We are a sheriff's deputy, but we're just assigned to the school. So we are just in school during school hours, during school activities, and all that to provide security for the school.
Okay. And how long have you been a school resource officer?
I started January 2nd, 2024.
How long have you been in law enforcement in general?
About 6 years. I was with Gwinnett for around 4 years. Gwinnett County Police before.
Okay. And so when you came to Barrow County, did you go straight into school resource officer?
No, sir. So I got hired with Barrow County October 30th, 2023.
Mm-hmm.
I did field training because I was a transfer, and we did that, and then I started with the SRO unit January 2nd, 2024.
With being part of the SRO unit, do you have specialized, do y'all do any sort of trainings for active shooters?
Yes, sir. So we do it during the summertime. Our unit usually does our own training for about 2 weeks-ish during the summer. I was a part of one of their trainings before, and then all my other previous training was with Gwinnett County Police, and we did active shooter training, single officer response.
Okay. Were you part of the big thing they had done at, I believe it was Russell Middle?
Yes, sir, in March.
In March?
Yes, sir.
You were part of that?
Correct.
Okay. And what was the purpose of that training?
That's the first time I've ever been part of a large-scale training like that. They implemented people from the Rescue Task Force, which are people made up from Bexar County Fire Department who were EMTs and paramedics, and it helps get a faster response to render medical aid.
What did y'all do before that? Would they just wait until the scene was secured to come in?
I have no idea what Bexar County did, sir. I wasn't here before on that, so that's my first one. When I was at Gwinnett, that's what they did.
Okay.
At Gwinnett, they staged until the scene was completely safe. Here at Bexar, I don't know what they did.
Okay. So what were you told is the reason they switched it to the new system?
To help render aid faster, right? Because if somebody's critically wounded, the faster we get the medical attention or out of the building is the faster we can hopefully save their lives and keep them from dying.
Okay. I want to take your attention to September of 2024. Were you school resource officer on that day?
Yes, sir.
And what school were you assigned to?
Apalachee High School.
How long had you been assigned to that school?
January 2nd. Or actually, probably the second week of January. When I started the 2nd, I did a field training officer with our SR unit, which I went around different schools and learned their process. So probably the second week of January in 2024.
Okay, so basically the second semester.
Correct. Yes, sir. The spring semester.
What do school resource officers do in the summertime?
So we go help the roads. We go help civil transports, that kind of thing. And then we also have like a summer camp, which is what we do. We take a group of usually middle school boys. We take them on like day trips, like hiking, stuff like that, and then we also take them to Jekyll Island most of the time, and it's like a little camp, just kind of like a boys' camp.
Okay. So in September, when did school start for Apalachee?
August 1st, if I recall correctly.
Okay. And what did you do generally day to day from August to September?
I was in the school all day during the school hours. I personally like to walk around. I can't sit still very well, so I just did laps around the school, checked classroom doors, make sure they were shut. That's something I was really, really big on. I ruffled some feathers about how to close some doors a couple of times. I was also really big about keeping the exterior door closed and make sure everything is secure.
What is the protocol for the how secure is the school on just a daily basis?
So I guess the easy way to explain it, we're in essentially a soft lockdown. And what that means is classroom doors are shut, and they have a mechanism in the door handle where it automatically locks behind the teacher. So when you walk out, if you exit the classroom and you shut the door behind you, it automatically locks.
Okay. How would a student get back in?
they would have to knock on the door and have either a teacher or whatever trusted student the teacher assigned to let the kid back in, the student back in.
And how would someone say my kid forgot his cleats for soccer? How would I, as a parent, get into the school during the school day?
So where our office is in the attendance office, and it's just set up just like there's an exterior door and a vestibule and then another door, and then you'd have to go and ring the bell and tell the attendance lady, which is Miss Stanfield, I'm not sure if you're still there, why you're there, and then you just would drop off the cleats.
Okay.
Or
We'll
love
pull
your shoes.
up a larger picture of the school. This is States 3.1. And it's behind you. Is that, can you, well, it's in front of you and behind you.
Yes, sir.
Could you orient yourself to the school and then tell me where is this office that's your office or y'all's office?
Do I have permission to stand?
Please, that'd be great. There should be a pointer there.
So this is, if I recall correctly, this is the front off, or the attendance office is right here.
Okay.
No, that's me. So hang on. That's turned weird. It's atrium. I don't know. My best guess is this is the media center, if I remember correctly, and then this is the entrance
Okay.
to the attendance office, and our office is right here.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And what, so that's the only entrance during the school day that someone can get to is that entrance there?
Either that or the main office, which is, this is the main entrance.
Okay. And all the other doors would have been, exterior doors would be locked?
Yes, sir. They're
Okay.
supposed to be
Okay.
locked and shut. And then there's also software where if a exterior door is propped open for too long, it sends us a text message to my work phone and it notified me that there was an exterior door locked
Okay.
or an exterior door opened.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can have a seat. Are you familiar with what's called the Centegic system?
Yes, sir.
What's that about?
So a strategic system is what the school implemented. I can't remember the exact date. So what that does is it notifies everybody who has a strategic app of either a soft staff alert, which is a 3-button press, or hard lockdown, which is an 8-button press. Staff alerts usually used for like fights, medical, that kind of stuff, and then the hard lockdown, the 8-button press is when there is an immediate threat inside the school or on school property.
Okay. And do you have that app on your phone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I want to take you to the morning of September 4th, 2024. Were you working that day?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What were you doing that specific day, that morning?
So that specific morning, I went and did traffic. Back in those days, we did morning traffic, which is either for the parent drop-off or for the bus lane. I had actually had a nail on my tire I've been trying to get fixed for 3 or 4 days, and I finally had the time to get it fixed after my morning traffic, which is I'd say around 7:35ish, maybe. I went to Quick Lane, which is just right up the road, and got my tire fixed, and I returned to school. And I let my partner at the time, Dawson Matherly, know I was going to be out and off school campus for a short while.
Okay. So that's there's another school resource officer
Yes, sir.
assigned to that school?
Correct.
Okay.
There's 2 at Avery High School.
About what time did you get back from that?
Before 10 o'clock, so probably 9:30, 10 o'clock-ish. I know I got a phone call on my office phone around 10 o'clock, so it was before then.
Okay. So you get back and I guess you were in your office?
Correct.
when
I was
that
in my
read?
office checking my emails. I could do every morning, just make sure there's nothing that I need to know about, nothing I missed. So it kind of put me back a little bit because I usually do that right after students arrive, after I do my first initial walkthrough.
Mhm.
So I was a little bit behind.
No problem. And you said you got a phone call.
Correct.
Who was that from?
From Miss D. Martin, assistant principal, calling my desk phone in the SRO office and advised that she has a concerning email from a teacher and she needed to see us.
Okay. And what did you do at that point?
So me and my partner took the most direct route to Miss Martin's office, which is an admin suite, which is pretty much in the center of the atrium.
Okay. And could you show us on the map
Yes, sir.
where you went?
Permission to stand?
Please.
So this is the atrium, and these are the admin offices. So we went out, the attendance office doors here, took a right, went in the atrium, and then the entrance to the admin suite's back here.
Okay.
When we went to Miss Martin's office, she was actually dealing with another student, so we stood outside for just a few minutes while she was finishing up with that one student.
Okay. And when she came out, what did she tell you?
She said that she has a concerning email about from a teacher in reference to a kid that had a large book bag and was asking weird questions about the active shooter procedure.
Okay. And what was the plan of action at that point? What was she asking of you?
So what we do is we just aid school admin. So we were just there for security is one thing. When they get a threat, we don't have probable cause to exactly search every student just because of an anonymous tip. School admin doesn't have to abide by the Fourth Amendment like we do. So what they do is they conduct an admin search, which is they look through the students' things and all that while we stand by for security. And if the school admin finds anything that gives us a probable cause for an arrest or a penal offense that was committed, then we can take over the situation from there.
Okay. I want to delve into that a little bit. So hypothetically, if I were to say, I think that guy over there's got a gun,
Right?
can you just stop him and search him?
No, sir.
And,
So what we could do is called a Terry frisk, which is just a brief, it's not a search, it's a quick pat down of the person's clothing or items to make sure that they don't have a weapon.
okay. So under the Fourth Amendment, for you to search somebody, being law enforcement, you need to have what you said, probable cause?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But is a teacher in the same position as a law enforcement at a school?
No, sir. So as school admin, they also, if I understand correctly, when every student enrolls in Bexar County schools, they pretty much essentially sign what I call a Fourth Amendment waiver, which means that when the student is at the school admin is acting as a parent to the child at that time, and they have custody, I guess is a better word for it. So school admin just has to have anything to do with school safety that they can articulate about why they want to do a search.
Okay. So normal procedure would be for the administration to take the lead and you guys provide kind of like a security
Correct.
backup.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So at this point, what do you know about this student?
Nothing at all, sir.
Okay. Do you know what he looks like?
No, sir.
Okay. What's the plan?
The plan was to go to where the student was at,
Mm-hmm.
pull the student out, and stand by for security while school admin conducted their investigation and did an administrative search of the student to ensure they did not have a weapon.
Okay. And where did y'all go?
We went straight down F Hall to J Hall and went to Mrs. Greer's, if I remember correctly, her classroom where the student was supposed to be.
Okay. And did you go into the classroom?
No, sir. We stood outside, close by the door, just to provide security for Miss Martin.
And did Miss Martin go in the class?
She went to the door. She might have took one or two steps into the classroom
Okay.
at that point. Just requested that student come speak to her.
And was that student in the classroom?
No, sir.
Okay. And were y'all directed where that student may be?
So we were close enough where I could hear the teacher say he was in the bathroom. So I immediately went to the closest bathroom, which is on J Hall.
Could you show us that on the...
Yes, sir. So this is J Hall, and the closest bathrooms are right here. I'm sorry, no, there's a closet. Closest bathrooms are right here.
Okay. So that's where y'all went?
Yes, sir. So Miss Greer's is one of these classrooms. I think it's the third. I think if I'm saying correctly, that's Miss Greer's. We went straight down here into those bathrooms, and I went in and asked if anybody in there was Colt Gray.
Okay. And was that the name you'd been given?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how many kids were in the bathroom?
There were several kids in the bathroom. One student was leaning up against the wall on his phone. He says, "I'm Colt Gray." And I requested him come talk to me. Deputy Mallory also went with me in the bathroom. I requested him check the rest of the bathroom while I got that one student out, and we escorted him to the nearest teacher workroom.
Okay. And where's that located at?
Right here.
Oh, so just right there at it.
Yes, sir. So it was only a few doors down.
Okay. When you got to the teacher's workroom, what happened?
Miss Martin the student left his personal belongings, his book bag, in the classroom. Miss Martin got that when we went and retrieved the student out of the bathroom.
Okay.
Miss Martin conducted an admin search of his book bag, and I did a quick Terry pat, which is me patting him down with an open hand. I did not I did not move any objects in his pockets or anything like that. Just a quick pat down to ensure he didn't have something I could identify as a weapon.
Okay. And were there any weapons on there?
No, sir.
Was he being cooperative with y'all?
100%. And he was in shock. He didn't know what the heck we were talking about.
Okay. At some point, does he tell you that there's another kid with the same name?
I can't recall directly if he told us or if when we escorted that student back to the classroom, the teacher advised Miss Martin there was another kid.
Okay.
With
But
that
at some
name.
point in that time, you realized there's
Correct.
another kid.
The way I recall it is first time I've heard that is when we took that student, Colt Gray, but he also goes by Colt, back to the classroom, and then I heard the teacher say, we also have another Colt Gray, and he's in the counseling office.
Okay. And where's the counseling office on there?
We're right here.
Okay.
So what we did as soon as we got that information, we took the most direct route, which is down J Hall to K Hall, and we call this H Hall, straight to the counseling suite. When I arrived at the counseling suite, I immediately did a quick search of the suite to make sure that to identify if the student was in there. We checked closets and bathrooms, and he was not in the counseling suite.
Okay.
I talked to school counselor Miss Butler, who said that she received a call from the student's mother that morning, and the mother was just concerned about him. And then I asked her questions about concerned why, and she said, "Oh, she's just concerned about him. We just need to check on him."
Okay. And where is Miss Martin at this time? She's still with
Miss
you?
Martin went with us. So me, my partner, Miss Martin, all went to the admin suite, or I'm sorry, the counseling office
Okay.
at that time.
So he's not there.
Correct.
Where do y'all go next?
So I asked Miss Butler for a picture of him.
Uh-huh.
School uses something called Infinite Campus, which is a online website where they keep track of all the students' behavioral issues, their grades, their enrollments, everything like that. And most of the time, a current picture or the year before, depends what time of year it was, their yearbook picture is what's on their profile. So
Okay.
that I requested to see that so I could potentially identify or know what the student looked like.
Okay. I'm going to show you Smart States at number 107, which is already in evidence. Do you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
Is that the picture you're referring to from Infinite Campus?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Pull that up. And is that him?
Yes, sir. So,
Was it obvious to you at that point that ain't a high school kid?
correct. Yes, sir. I identify that as possibly late elementary, early middle school. So that picture really wasn't of huge use. I mean, we kind of have a general idea, but.
Okay. So y'all go from there to where?
So after I sent that picture, I informed my partner to go with Miss Martin back to the admin suite to look at video surveillance to see what we could identify what the kid was wearing, what he looked like, and exactly where he went, because he did not go where he said he was going to go.
Okay.
As soon as we left the admin suite, or I can't say admin suite, the counseling suite, I observed Sergeant Boyd walk up G Hall. And I gave a quick rundown of what exactly we had, which is kid had a large book bag, asked some questions about active shooter procedures, informed him that Miss Butler received a call from mom concerned, and didn't give really information, didn't give any kind of.
Where is this conversation with W. Boyd taking place?
It's either at the intersection of H Hall and G Hall, or somewhere G Hall close to H Hall. So this is G Hall, and we call this H Hall.
Okay.
So it's either, if I recall, somewhere around here, it might have been a little bit further down G Hall, but somewhere in this general vicinity.
Are y'all moving and talking?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We were
What
walking.
direction are you moving to?
We were walking down G Hall to the atrium. My plan of action was, since I didn't know what the center looked like, I was trying to go somewhere where I could observe the vast majority of the school. The good thing about the atrium here, you can see down all these long hallways. Granted, you can't see all the school, but at that one particular spot, you can see the most of the school.
That's the best spot to see the most?
Correct.
Okay. Y'all normally go there?
This is where I stood very often. It's where I just like, because you can see most of the school from that area.
And so do you and Deputy Boyd make it to the atrium?
Yes, sir. So we walked down the atrium. We stood at the atrium, at the table, and we were just talking. Me and Sergeant Boyd were part of a small group with a few students and all that for.
What do you mean by small group? Bible study?
Yes, sir. So we were sitting there talking about what we're going to do that next day for Bible study.
Okay. And I guess you're waiting on Martin and Matterly to
Correct.
find this kid on the,
Yes,
on
sir.
the video. Okay. How long are you standing there before something happens?
If I predict a few minutes, it wasn't very long. While we're standing there, there was a class that had some kind of science project. They had empty pickle jars with plastic spoons, and they were beating on the jars, and it kind of makes like a drum sound.
Because why not?
Right, correct, makes sense. So I heard that, and then I also heard a noise similar to it off in the distance, but I quickly realized it was a different sound.
Okay. When you say quickly and it was a different, how's your brain working here?
I quickly identified them as gunshots. I took off down F Hall. Sergeant Boyd followed me.
Did you say anything to Deputy Boyd before he took off?
No, sir. Like, we both just gave each other that look, like, are you hearing what I'm hearing? And we both just took off.
And is that the direction you're hearing the shots come from?
Somewhere in that corner of the school. I'm not sure exactly what drove me to that corner. It's just probably like the kid was supposed to be over here on J Hall. That's the best. It sounds like it was coming from that area. So that was my best, I guess you call it a guess at that time, to start there and start looking for what's going on.
Okay. So tell me about the trip down J Hall. Are you in front of Boyd or?
Yes, sir. So I ran down F Hall and I paused at F Hall in search of J Hall. I heard one more gunshot. I couldn't really direct where it was coming from, so I looked behind, and Sergeant Boyd was a few feet behind me. I was like, "You good? You good?" Making sure that he wasn't shot or he wasn't one that was shooting. He says, "No, we're good." And then right there at the intersection, there was a bunch of haze. The best way I can describe it is on like a very, very foggy day where you can only see a few feet in front of you. And then on J Hall, the two corners of J Hall, the end of the hallways, they're exterior doors, bright windows in them. Mm-hmm. So that also diminished a lot of visibility.
Was it a bright day that day?
Yes, sir. So it's very similar. Like if you're driving down the road in your vehicle and it's really foggy, and you turn on your high beams and it washes it out even more. It was very similar to that.
Okay. So do you have an idea, you're at this T intersection with J Hall, do you have an idea of whether you want to go left or right?
So I'll look left and right, which is what I'm trying to do. And to the right, I've seen a human-shaped object laying on the ground and a human-shaped object above, or right next to that.
Was the second one standing?
Yes, sir. The second one was standing. I wasn't sure if it was a teacher, if it was another student, or if it was a shooter. It was so foggy I couldn't see any weapons in his hands or anything like that. I gave one command of show me your hands, to put it in a nice way.
Did you say it in a polite manner?
No, so I said show me your fucking hands.
Okay. And where about on that were you when you started yelling?
So as soon, this is F Hall, this is J Hall. So as soon as I was right here and I turned the corner and I started walking, I yelled. The shooter was down here close to the intersection of J Hall and K Hall.
Okay. So where were you when you yelled?
My first command was somewhere around here.
Okay.
And then we continued to yell throughout the whole thing. I didn't really know what was going on until about halfway down the hallway, which is closer to I Hall. Mm-hmm. And that's when I seen a body on the ground, and then the person I was sitting on the ground next to it, and then a rifle next to it.
Okay. And did you have your duty weapon drawn?
Yes, sir.
At what point in this trip did you draw your weapon?
As soon as I was ran down that hall.
Okay. This person, this figure that you saw, and you're yelling commands at him, did you see whether or not he abided by those commands?
He abided as soon as I yelled the first command.
The first time?
Yes, sir.
What did he do?
I could observe the head area of the human-shaped object turn and look at us, and then he immediately he or she immediately got on the ground and didn't move after that.
Okay. What did y'all do at that point?
So me and Sergeant Boyd were stacked up. I was in front, he was behind me, until about the halfway point where we could observe a lot better and see what we had. And then we split up. I was on the right side of the hallway, and Sergeant Boyd was on the left side. We were running down the hallway still yelling commands to not move and to not reach towards the rifle.
Okay. What was he doing?
He did the textbook as we were trained in the academy. He got on the prone position, which means he got on the stomach. He put his arms out to the side like an airplane, and then he turned his head and didn't look, turned his head away from us and wasn't looking.
Are you telling him to do these specific things?
No, no, sir.
So he's doing that on his own volition?
He did exactly on his own, almost like he knew exactly what to do.
So what did y'all do when you were riding with him?
So when we got close enough, Sergeant Boyd pulled his handcuffs out, and I kept him at gunpoint to provide lethal coverage while Sergeant Boyd placed him in handcuffs.
Okay. Were you able to determine what was on the ground?
So the human-shaped object was a body laying motionless. There was what I identify as an Air Star style rifle very close to the shooter. And then after Sergeant Boyd placed him in handcuffs, he conducted a search incident to arrest, where he found several magazines still fully loaded in the shooter's pockets.
Okay. I'm going to show you what is marked as State Exhibit number 8. So you can identify that.
Yes, sir. That is a shooter.
And is that the person that complied and was handcuffed by Deputy Boyd?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, at this time I tender State Exhibit number 108 in evidence.
Any objection? No, Your Honor. All right, 108 is submitted.
Oh, there you go. And is that what you looked like when y'all arrested him?
As far as the hair color and everything, yes, sir. But that was not the clothes he was wearing.
He was not wearing those clothes.
Correct. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
I want to now show you it's marked as State Exhibit number 111.117.
111.117.
Yes, sir. Yes, you identify that.
Yes, sir. That is the aerosol rifle I observed on the ground, very close to the shooter.
And is that the condition that y'all saw it in once Deputy Boyd pulled out the magazines?
Yes, sir. So where the rifle is laying, no, as far as I know, nobody touched the rifle. I know I didn't, and Sergeant Boyd didn't. And when the first wave, nobody moved the rifle. The magazines were placed next to it, out of the shooter's pockets.
Okay. And is
And
that
so were the
accurately,
glasses and the AirPods.
okay. Is that accurately reflected as you remember seeing it that morning?
100%.
Your Honor, I tender State Exhibit number 111.117 into evidence.
No objection. All right, it's submitted.
It's published. So those are the one magazine in, 3 more magazines. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And those eyeglasses, did they come from the shooter?
Yes, sir.
And there's like a little AirPod there. Did that come from the shooter also?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you have the shooter now. Deputy Boyd has cuffed him. What happens then?
I immediately went to the human-like object on the ground to render aid. I quickly identified the human-like object as deceased. The human-like object had a gunshot wound to either the face or neck region, and there was no amount of medical care we could give or I can render to potentially save his life.
Okay. So what are you and Deputy Boyd doing at this point?
After I did that, we held the hallway. And what I mean by that is we were trying to provide as much coverage, make sure nobody else was coming down, because at that point, where we're trained is if there's one shooter, there might be 2 or 3. So we weren't sure if he was by himself or if anybody else was acting with him. So what we did was our backs were to person set up.
Sure. Could you go back to the thing? We're going to pull up that name now.
So this is about the area where myself, Sergeant Boyd, the shooter, and the deceased body was at. Me and Boyd stood in this general area, so we see down this hallway, and behind us, while I watched the suspect in handcuffs. Sergeant Wood went to his 2 classrooms to make sure they were clear. What I mean by clear is make sure there was nobody else in those classrooms that could potentially harm us,
Why were you worried about those particular ones?
because that's where our backs were to.
Okay.
So he kept our backs towards the classrooms, and so we could see out in the hall, see out of this exterior door, and see down all of J Hall.
Okay. And did y'all stay like that until backup arrived?
Yes, sir. And the next person that arrived was Deputy Dawson Matherly. He stood here with an aerosol rifle, his patrol rifle, and provided coverage down K Hall.
Okay.
And then after him, Deputy Cook, who's the SRO at Heyman Morris.
Where is Heyman Morris in relation to Apalachee?
Right above Apalachee High School on the same piece of property.
Okay, so he could come on foot?
Correct. No, sir. So he drove his car and he made entry into the building. And then when he arrived, he stood somewhere around this general area and provided coverage with a long rifle, his patrol rifle, down J Hall.
Okay. And how long did y'all stay like that?
Probably a few minutes, sir.
Okay. And then what happened?
The first wave of reinforcements, as well as the first RTF team, arrived. And then as soon as they got there, I took off and started to check classrooms.
What were you checking for?
Checking for any other shooters, and also checking to make sure there was nobody else in the building that was injured and needed medical assistance.
How long after the shooter was secured before the first wave arrived?
Less than 10 minutes.
Okay.
More than likely,
I'm
granted,
sure.
it was like in that situation, it feels like a long time, but it was pretty quick.
Okay. And tell me about the process of entering these classrooms. Are they accessible?
No, sir. So during the hard lockdown, and plus here in the Gunshots, everybody was stacking bookshelves, desks, chairs, whatever they could against the door. So when we made entry, it was kind of like wasn't like making forced entry, but you had to really push really hard to get whatever bookshelf or desk or whatever out of your way to gain entry into the classroom.
Were they also locked?
Yes, sir.
How are they unlocked?
So all SROs are issued a master key, several master keys, but they have one key that does all classrooms. So I just started unlocking doors because it's like the first wave. Not many people have keys that
I was about to ask, does the random
Correct.
police officer have a
No,
key?
sir.
Okay.
So the random police officer does not have keys. So I started running down, checking doors, unlocking doors, and assisting with any victims or anything within J Hall.
So you're going down J Hall?
Correct.
Okay.
At first.
Do you come upon a room where there is victims?
Correct.
Which room is that?
Mrs. Ryan's classroom.
Are you one of the first ones there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Describe the scene of Miss Ryan's room when you arrived.
There are a bunch of bullet holes in the wall. I looked down to my right-hand side, closest to the door. I observed a human-like object laying on the ground motionless. Went and checked on him and deemed he was deceased. No amount of medical care could save him. And then there's a few other victims in that room. And then one student caught my attention and said, "She just went out. She just went out." So I went over to that student, picked her up.
Do you know now what that student's name
Her
was?
name was Taylor Jones.
Taylor Jones?
Yes, sir.
Where was she injured at?
I have no idea, sir.
Okay.
I just know that she was, her friend said she just passed out. I went up to Miss Taylor Jones and I observed her. She was laying motionless. She was white as a sheet. Her lips were blue. I wasn't exactly sure. So I picked her up and started making my way to the door. So I made my way to the door. A stretcher was right next to that door. I laid her on the stretcher, myself and Lieutenant Woody. Started to see where she was hit. I lifted her shirt to see if she was hit anywhere in the upper torso region. Lieutenant Woody went down around her lower, like her legs and all that. I said to lift her shirt. He started doing her legs, and the RTF member came up, and then I immediately left and started checking more classrooms because that's not my area of expertise.
Okay. Where did you go after that?
I just started checking classrooms down F Hall, and then after that,
Were other people coming into
Correct.
Miss Ryan's room?
Yes, sir.
So you checked which hall after that?
F Hall.
And that's the one you had originally run down?
Correct. And then I went everywhere. I think I ran 7 miles that day according to my watch. So,
You said first wave.
Right.
How long before the second? What do you mean by waves?
So the first group, sir, the
Okay.
first group of people came, and then I took off. I really wasn't paying attention to when more people got there and how many people. I was very antsy. I was want to make sure nobody else was hit, nobody else was injured. So once that first wave got there, I just took off. Started checking, and I was just trying to stop the dying.
Okay. And how long before y'all had cleared the school?
I have no idea, sir. Like we cleared the whole school probably 5 or 6 different times.
Okay. And about how many law enforcement personnel arrived that you could notice?
Honestly, sir, I didn't know how many people were there until after everything calmed down, and I went out the attendant's office door just to get some fresh air, and then I was just in awe of the amount of support we had between blue lights and red lights.
Okay. How long were you working that day?
If I recall correctly, I think I was forced home because I wouldn't leave around 7:30ish.
Okay.
Could be wrong.
And did you give a statement to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation about
Yep.
your involvement?
Yes, sir.
Just a second, please. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cross. Thank you.
Good morning, Deputy King.
Morning, sir. How are you?
Good, thank you. Where in relation to Ms. Greer's room is the closest bathroom?
Permission to go up and show you?
That'd be great.
Right here, sir. So Miss Greer's classroom's right here.
Okay.
The closest bathroom is right here.
Now, is that the bathroom that you initially checked?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Where is the next bathroom that would be the closest?
On I hall, sir, which is right here.
Okay. Did anybody check that bathroom at any time, do you know?
Not to my recollection, sir.
Okay. You had indicated that you didn't have, you can go ahead and sit back down, thank you. You had indicated that you didn't have a description of Colt Gray.
Right.
But you talked to Ms. Butler and she provided that photograph.
Yes, sir.
Did she indicate to you that she had seen Colt Gray close in time to this situation?
No, sir.
Did she provide you any information about what he looked like, whether he was black, white, Hispanic?
If I recall correctly, she just said the white male.
Okay. Did she say anything about the length of his hair, what color hair he had,
Not to my recollection.
or how tall he was?
No, sir.
Where in relation to Ms. Greer's classroom is Ms. Harris' classroom? Is it fairly close?
Kind of, sort of, sir. Miss Harris is on G Hall,
Mm-hmm.
and then Mrs. Greer is on J Hall.
And while you were there, did anyone get Ms. Harris to come up and identify what the person may look like?
Not to my knowledge, sir.
Did you ever see a book bag close to the gun or close to Colt Gray when you saw him initially?
No, sir.
Do you know where that book bag may have been?
No, sir.
Was it ever found in the bathroom or the classroom? Do you know?
I have no idea, sir.
You didn't take a statement from Mr. Gray, correct?
No, sir.
All right, that would have been someone else.
Correct. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Can you rewrite?
No, you want to ask you to be excused?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.